In the early years of The Who, the band was not only known for their explosive sound and energetic performances, but also for the rocky relationships amongst the members. The earlier days were rampant with significant animosity, which often spilled over into their live shows. On May 20th, 1966, members of The Who would find themselves in arguably their most notorious incident ever after a gig at the Ricky Tick Club in Berkshire, England. On that night, The Who were hosting Beach Boys singer Bruce Johnston while touring around the British Isles. Who drummer Keith Moon, a known gigantic fan of Johnston, had arranged for an interview on the popular television program Ready Steady Go. Alongside him was Who bassist John Entwistle. The two bandmates indulged in drinks and camaraderie with Johnston and other musicians in attendance. However, their shenanigans led to a late arrival for their performance that night. Upon getting to the gig, Moon and Entwistle discovered that guitarist Pete Townsend and singer Roger Daltrey had grown impatient and had started the set without them. Frustrated by their lateness, Townsend and Daltrey enlisted the help of Colin Strandring and Jeff Brown from the opening act, the Jimmy Brown Sound. This decision did not sit well with Moon and Entwistle, who were both angry and incredibly inebriated. As the show progressed, tensions escalated. Keith Moon, fueled at this point definitely by more than just alcohol, confronted Townsend about allowing another drummer to use his kit. Townsend did not back down, expressing his frustration over their late arrival, of course. The tension on the stage was incredibly charged, and then the show reached the boiling point after the finale of My Generation. In an absolutely chaotic display, Keith Moon began destroying his drum kit, which then led to him hitting a cymbal, which inadvertently flew and hit Pete Townsend. Then in retaliation and frustration, Pete Townsend inadvertently swung his guitar, which accidentally hit Keith Moon in the face. Pete Townsend later reflected on the incident, saying, "I wasn't hurt, just annoyed and upset. Keith and John had been over 2 hours late. Then I swung out with my guitar, not really meaning to hit Keith. I lost my grip on the instrument, and I just caught him." So apparently as the curtains are coming down, the venue's PA announcer gets on and starts trying to reassure fans that this is all part of the act, this is all part of the show. It was not part of the show. So then after the dust settled and the bandmates did get backstage, turns out that Keith Moon really did get the worst of it. Moon ended up suffering a black eye, a cut that required stitches, and an injured ankle. Now remember, Johnston, who was known as the mild-mannered beach boy who Keith Moon and John Entwistle were out with getting hammered before this all happened, he said he was standing there in disbelief. "I don't know what sparked it off. I just remember watching from the side of the stage, and all of a sudden they got in the biggest fight I've ever seen. Guitars are swinging, everybody's just in a frenzy. The atmosphere shifted dramatically, transforming a night of music into a whirlwind of chaos." News of the brawl spread like wildfire, and additionally, Keith Moon announced that he and John Entwistle were both leaving the band. Turns out this was not true, as John Entwistle returned the very next day. Keith Moon took a brief hiatus, but it wasn't only due to his injuries. He was looking for other gigs. Moon's dissatisfaction with the dynamics within The Who led him to explore opportunities with other groups. The Who did play a run of show with replacement drummers, normally who were just from the opening act, but after about a week of holding a grudge, Keith Moon came back. The incident at Berkshire in 1966 exemplified the volatile dynamics within The Who during their formative years, a time characterized by both creative brilliance and personal conflict. However, it was the band's ability to channel that tumultuous relationship into their music that ultimately contributed to their legendary status in rock and roll history.